welcome to my video, which is not all about books as you would think. It's all about crocheting. My favourite videos on YouTube are the crocheting videos. When I'm crocheting, my favourite thing to do is to just watch the everything I've crocheted so far videos. I love them, and I searched that on YouTube and I can't get enough of them, so I thought I'd do my own video today as well. So I'm going to start with things I finished in January and then move on to the rest of the year. This will be in time order. The first thing I made this year is this blanket. I didn't start it this year, I started it in January last year and it took me over a year to complete, and that is because I decided to use a 3.5mm hook for an entire blanket, which I now know I won't do it again. I did it because I saw this box stitch. I'm not sure if you can see it very well, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was gorgeous. Thankfully, I still think it's really pretty. I do still really like it. And I chose these colours because originally it was meant to go to my partner's stepmom for Christmas. But I didn't finish it in time, and I convinced myself it wasn't perfect because I missed out a few stitches at the start when I was learning how to do the box stitch. And I just had to keep it myself because it wasn't perfect. It's also definitely not perfect because it's the first time I've done a border and I've done too many stitches along the border, so it's quite wobbly along the border, as you can see here. You can't really see how big it is. I'll hold it up. Here we are. This big, wraps around nicely. It's quite a cosy one. I love it. Second, once I finished that, I moved on to a much smaller project. For Christmas, my very lovely friend Megan got me a Crochet Society box by Bella Coco, and inside that box there was some orange and yellow yarn and some really nice patterns. So I made this little lemon and this little orange. Here we are. I was watching a show called Our Flag Means Death whilst I was making these, which is a wholesome pirate comedy, and these two are named after two of the main pirates that are in it. So we've got Ed and Steed. That's these guys. I'm a teacher, I'm a primary school teacher, and in class, I teach year one, we were doing King John, and we were looking at kings and queens, so I decided that it'd be really useful to do a bit of role play to get the kids really into the story of King John and Magna Carta and things like that. So I crocheted a couple of crowns, and it was a really good fun crocheting this. The yarn was a lovely colour. It's one of my favourite colours, like a mustardy yellow. The pattern was really simple as well. I actually used a stitch that I haven't used before, which is quite fun. It only took about half an hour to make these, so I made a couple, and the lesson went really well as well because I got one of them to be King John and we crowned King John, and it was a very fun lesson and a successful crochet. My next thing, I bought a bag of scrap yarn. Now most people have enough scrap yarn to, they really don't need to buy any more scrap yarn, I'm sure, but I use as much yarn as I can. I use all my scrap yarn, and I don't really feel like I have loads of colours. I tend to go for the same colours. You might be getting a blue theme from me so far, which I didn't even realise I liked that much. But anyway, I bought this bag of scrap yarn and there's loads of different colours in here. So I've been making some granny squares with them, which I will show. And then I've also made a bucket hat, my very first bucket hat, because I'm going to a music festival in May, and here it is. This is my first bucket hat. It'll do. What I did is I just put my hand in the bag of scrap yarn, and whatever ball of wool I drew out, that was the one I used, which is why I've got two yellows. But the only thing I didn't like with this was this line of turquoise there, because it's only one line and it doesn't really go. It would go if it was all the way around, but it doesn't. I didn't have enough yarn for it because I'd already used it on a granny square. So if I was to do it again, I probably would choose my yarns, or at least choose balls that I had enough of to go around at least once. But other than that, I really like it and it'll definitely get used, because that's one of the things I don't like, when I make something and I don't use it. That makes me sad. I know they're still there to be loved, but I really want it to be practical as well. So my dad's birthday is coming up in April, And for my dad's birthday, I decided to crochet him something. I've crocheted my mum things, my sister things, loads of friend things, but I've never made my dad something. So I decided that this year I would do that. And this is what I've crocheted him. He's likes his games, so I've made him a little dice pouch which can be tied. Here we are, you can tie it, untie it, obviously, and unclasp it, and put dice in. Just a nice little pouch, nice and simple. I just thought he might like these colours. I really enjoyed this. Again, it was a really quick make, so I decided to make myself one. So I've got a purpley one here. Not sure if you can see it, can't really see. I need to weave in the ends. I've still got the hook in there so I don't lose it. It was nice and fast, nice fast make. I might even include a tassel or maybe a little applique pattern and sew that onto the end. I'm not quite sure yet. And I don't really know what I'm going to do with this one. I might just keep it and put my own dice in there, even though I don't really use them very often. At least I know where they were then. Now that is that for my scrap yarn patterns. At the moment, my mum has asked me to make a couple of amigurumis for her friends. One of them, she has had 5 rounds of IVF and is finally having a baby, and I think it's due next month. So she's asked me to make a giraffe in fairly neutral colours. So I've nearly finished the giraffe. Here is my giraffe. The only thing I haven't added yet is the spots, so I need to crochet them and make them. Sewing and weaving in ends are my least favourite part of crochet, but it has to be done. Oh, you could glue it, but because it's for a baby, it probably wouldn't be too safe. I've made sure these limbs are extra secure, and the eyes are not safety eyes, they are simply embroidery yarn, just to make sure it's safe for the baby. It's quite floppy, I think it's quite cute. But these bits do really annoy me. I do wish these bits would stand up. But, oh well, it adds to the cuteness maybe. I'm not sure. This is my giraffe. She also has another friend who's having a baby next month, and she's asked me to make a swan. I love this idea. This week I am not loving this idea. I thought it'd take me maybe 2 nights of crocheting, because I just crochet constantly when I'm at home. Maybe about 10 hours. It's not been 10 hours, it's been more, I'm sure. It definitely feels like more. I've been taking it to school with me and crocheting at my lunches. And I've been crocheting every night this week and it's still not finished. I can show you most of it. I've got the head here. When you're doing this pattern, it's a lovely pattern and I'm sure it's going to look great. But as you're doing it, it's like, does this really look like a swan? Is this going to be a swan? But here is my face. And here is the body, which took forever because the stitches are so small. This is with a 3.25mm hook. So I was really confused about how it was going to attach, but I think I've worked it out. I've looked at the picture and it goes something like this, I believe. And then it's going to have a little pink crown because she's having a girl, some legs, wings and wingtips, and a beak obviously. It look quite strange without a beak. And then my last thing, which I have finished finally, I am very happy that I finished this, is my jumper, which I'm wearing right now. I have made a jumper before. It was one of my first projects that I made. It's the first thing I wanted to make and got me into crocheting during lockdown. But I was very much a novice and it was massive. It could have fit 2 of me in. I used far too much yarn. I didn't need to use that much yarn. But maybe one day I'll frog it because it's not getting used at the moment and I've already said that I don't like that. It's just sitting in my wardrobe. But it's my first project, so we'll see. Anyway, this is a jumper that fits much better. I'm really happy with this. I call it my garish jumper or garish jumper, depending on how you pronounce that. Because my partner says it's very blue. I quite like that. I love these sunburst granny squares. I think they're lovely and I love the white ribbing as well. I used scrap yarn for this, of just yarns that I had in my stash. The blue I did actually buy another couple of balls of. But I'm really happy with this. I'll stand up so you can see it better. There we are. Really doesn't go with this skirt, but I just thought I'd wear it for the video anyway. And that is everything I have made so far this year. I have lots of plans to make other things. I'm not quite sure what my next big project is going to be. Maybe another blanket. I do really like the look of mandalas, but we'll have to see. And that is everything. Well, thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe if you would like to. It would definitely help me and it'd give me a confidence boost as well. And like my video if you did like it. My plan is to release a video every month, including what I've crocheted so far in that month. So look out for me next month at the end of April. Thank you very much. Bye.